our next video in the series is going to look at how we can get power from our small 3-volt DC motor to our wheels so that we don't have to manually spin them to make the car go. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at strategies for how to attach the motor as well as the battery pack in a way that reduces friction and maximizes the energy that we get from either the batteries or the solar panel going to the motor. So the first thing we need to do is we need to mark where we're going to mount our motor. And before we glue anything, we're simply going to see where our motor sits. And the way we do that is we're going to place our motor right on the car so that the gears are touching and that the faces are even. And then, with the gears touching and the faces even, with the motor resting on the chassis, I'm simply going to mark the front and back bounds of my motor with a pencil. And in between those two lines, I know is where I am going to be putting my glue for the motor. Now that I have that marked up, what I'm going to do is I am going to, while wearing gloves, put a nice puddle of hot glue right where my motor is going to be mounted. Now, you want to have it be about the size of a dime. It'll spread out when you place the motor in it. Now, these terminals on the motor, these metal clips, those should be facing up. That way we can access the wires of the battery pack easily. I'm going to place my motor into that puddle of glue, and while it is still wet, I can slide it in so that the faces of my gears are nice and even, and that those gears are touching each other to minimize friction. And now I can wait for it to dry in its location. While I'm waiting for it to dry, I can also put my battery pack on. This is quite simple. We don't want these battery packs to be impossible to get off in the event that we need to move them should a wall not fit, or if we need to just outright take them off in the event we're running the car on solar power and want to save a little bit of mass. To put the battery pack on, I'm simply going to use the glue gun to put 1, 2, 3, and 4 dots of glue in the corner. That way it's going to be easy to remove. And then I'm just going to place it wherever I have indicated on my drawing. It doesn't matter if the wires are facing forward towards the front of the car or backwards, because they can be bent and manipulated and held down with tape. So now I have my battery pack on, I have my motor on, so the chassis of my car is ready to go. If I were to put batteries into this right now, I would have a rolling rectangle. That's not going to hold a solar panel or a soda can, however. So what you do from here, as far as your walls, soda can holder, solar panel mounts, is really going to determine the overall performance and look of your car. But once you're at this point, you're no longer doing the same thing as everyone else. You're really now in charge of executing the design elements that you and your group have selected. We're not going to be able to do a video for that because of the fact that everyone's design will be different. For example, this group that we've been modeling off of went ahead and built this themed car with the flags, and they had to cut out these individual pieces using the scroll saw. So that's where you're going now, and we'll see where you get.